Right, and so we are here today taking your questions. If you have a question about injuries, you can give us a call, and we'll take those questions here. And on the line holding is Gladys from Jackson. Welcome to Law Call, Gladys, and you can ask your question now.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, I had a injury at my doctor's office, and just about ever since the injury happened, their insurance company has been kind of rushing me into a settlement. But I broke my foot and it's not healed yet. I'm still going through therapy with it. Can you tell me what should I do?
Well, Gladys, was this a medical malpractice where your doctor injured you, or did you fall?
I fell.
Okay.
Water was on the floor and I slipped and
All right.
fell.
Well, that's good. Thank you for your call. I'm sorry that you were injured. Let's turn it over to Baskin. Sounds like she has a slip and fall or a premises liability case. What are her options here?
In these types of slip and fall cases, the main thing is whether or not the premises owner should have known that the water was on the floor. And that question is one that you might be able to answer better than we can at this point. But if that water was on the floor for long enough that they should have cleaned it up, we want to make sure that they do, and the law will make sure that they do.
Okay, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, when you have a premises liability case, I think Baskin is absolutely right. It's going to come down to notice. We don't hold business owners absolutely responsible for every injury, but if they knew or they should have known that there was water on their floor, or I had a case a few months ago that I tried where my worker went to a business site that had spread a slippery substance. They knew about it, the business owner knew it, and they didn't tell him. And then when he went to work to deliver his goods, he slipped, he tore his knee, and he suffered all kinds of personal injuries. He tore his knee up, and he lost a lot of wages. And those are the kinds of premises cases that you can recover for. Now, if you walk in if you walk in a business and you just slip because you fell, I don't think you're going to be able to recover. But the case that Baskin's talking about and that I'm talking about are different than those. Those are the good kind.
The good kind, the paying kind.
Well, the kind where the people are really injured because of somebody else's fault, not just because they fell on their own.
That's right. All right, our next caller is Priscilla, and welcome to Law Call, Priscilla. You can ask your question. Priscilla is from Clinton. Welcome to Law Call, Priscilla. Priscilla, are you there? Okay, I think we may have lost Priscilla. Is she there? No, that's not Priscilla. Okay, maybe she'll call back here. But if you guys can just go a little bit more just about explaining just the different types of personal injury.
Well, you got a lot of categories. You got auto accidents, 18-wheeler wrecks, and then you also have medical malpractice cases. I know that Baskin's firm, Mr. Giddens, has handled quite a few of those. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you'll have to prove and what type of expert you'll need in a medical malpractice case?
Medical malpractice cases are difficult in that you have a doctor's judgment on the line. You have to prove basically that the doctor made a decision that a normal doctor would not have made. And so these cases are very difficult, and they require experts to see those things that the doctor potentially did that caused this injury and that really injured an individual.
Okay, our next caller is Kate from Pearl. Welcome to Law Call, Kate, and you can ask your question now.
Okay, about almost 3 years ago, I had an accident at a doctor's office. In front of the doctor's office, I tried to help a patient down the steps. There was no railing. He fell backwards, fell on me, and crushed my tailbone. It happened on 9/9/09. And I wonder how much time I have to file a lawsuit.
That's a great question.
I had two lawyer offices already that turned me down.
Okay. Well, thank you for your call, Kate. You have brought up a very important issue, and that is the statute of limitations. And what I would tell Kate if she was in my office is that in general, you have 3 years from the date of your injury to file your lawsuit. It can be shorter if the business or the person that you're going to sue is a governmental entity. It can be as short as 1 year. But Baskin, why don't you talk to the callers a little bit about what happens if you miss your statute of limitations?
That's the problem with statute of limitations. You have one shot usually at these types of injuries. There's certain other cases where if notice comes into play, statute of limitations might be longer, but you want to make sure that your case is filed, that you've talked to an attorney, that you've consulted him about your injuries, that your case has to be filed within that statute. Usually 3 years would be about the longest for a personal injury case.
Okay. And what happens once I've filed a case? What can I expect to happen next?
Well, a few things are triggered. What happens once you file your case and you get your lawsuit to the defendant, then they have a period of time of 30 days to answer the lawsuit. And after that, then you enter into what's called the discovery process. And that's where we'll send written questions to the defendant. They'll send written questions to us. Then we'll take depositions where you discover the facts and the circumstances of the other side's case. And the reason you really do that is to see if you can reach a settlement, see if there's any way to resolve the dispute. And if you can't, then you also know what they're going to say at trial. So you have an opportunity to prepare your case.
Okay, all right. Our next caller is Kathy from Madison. Welcome to Law Call, Kathy. And what's your question this evening?
Hi, I was just wondering about emotional injury. My daughter, we believe, has been emotionally injured by an individual, also a lawyer and a judge. What recourse do we have, please?
Thank you for your call, Kathy.
Well, Kathy, some of the prosecutors and judges may have what's called immunity under the Mississippi Tort Claims Act because the law allows them to perform their jobs without having to just face retribution every time they say something that hurts someone's feelings. But in your case, or in other cases where there's a severe emotional component, then she may have a cause of action for personal injuries. Tell us, Baskin, can a person recover for emotional distress in Mississippi?
Emotional distress is something you can recover for in Mississippi. A lot of times it's going to be a out there type of recovery in that the type of damage done to you emotionally, there's going to need to be good reason for it, and that injury, that emotional damage is going to need to be something tangible, either that a doctor is going to diagnose or that you can actually have something tangible about it to recover for.
Can you add a little bit more when you
Well, I
talk
think
about
what he's saying is right. And if you just have some hurt feelings, I don't think that's going to be enough. But if you have somebody that said things bad about you and then it caused you to get emotional counseling, mental and emotional counseling, and now you have a doctor or counselor that can back that up, I think that your case will be much stronger than just someone saying that my feelings are hurt.
Okay, thank you. That's good advice there. All right, and it's time for us to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more of your questions.
This is Stan. Stan's responsible for the new rate cuts at Safe Auto. Rate cuts so deep, up to 15%. People are beginning to take notice. If only they weren't so shy about showing Stan how much they appreciate it. 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. State minimum coverage. Savings of up to 15%.
Hi, I'm Walt Grayson, inviting you to watch for my Look Around Mississippi weekly segments right here on WLBT. And don't forget to support our very own local businesses. Let's keep Mississippi strong together.
I'm Attorney Richard Schwartz. Forbes magazine reports that Mississippi is one of the top 10 most generous states. Thanks to giving people like you, the Salvation Army now has a state-of-the-art facility for the people of Greater Jackson. Mississippians are charitable. That's one of the things I love most about this state. When we pull together, we can keep Mississippi strong.
In compliance with the Children's Programming Act, each week WLBT airs core programming directed to the educational and informational needs of children under the age of 16. WLBT also maintains in a public file descriptions of each episode that is aired and how it relates to the specific needs of children falling into this age group. The public file is located at our studios at 715 South Jefferson Street, Jackson, Mississippi, and is open to the public for inspection at any time during normal business hours. WLBT's children's liaison is Elvin Crisp.
I believe the produce you find at Kroger is better than anywhere else.
Every cut of meat I put out is absolutely fresh.
At Kroger, we're focused on quality.
I'm focused on quality.
I'm focused on quality.
Get more value for the way you live.
Every day at Kroger.
This week at Kroger, save on everything you need to fire up the grill. Like Kroger ground beef, just $1.99 a pound. And be sure to pick up plenty of Kroger buns. 8-count packs are 10 for $10. Get more value for the way you live at Kroger.
Hey,
It's me, the Alabama Gulf Coast. How you been? Me? Couldn't be better. Just thinking about you. About the long walks we used to take, chasing some fish. Or having a little lunch. So why not pack up and get back down here? We can relive some old memories and maybe create some new ones.
Law Call with award-winning broadcaster Tamika Smith and personal injury attorneys Tim Porter of the Jackson law firm of Porter Maloof, called one of the winningest firms in the United States. And Jackson attorney Rocky Wilkins, with more than $70 million in settlements and verdicts. Plus guest attorneys from across Mississippi. Your rights, your calls, live. Law Call.
You know, this time of year, many of us are hanging out at ballparks, but if you've been there, have you ever seen a home run ball ding a car in the parking lot? Well, who is responsible for the damages? Personal injury attorney Tim Porter walks us through an explanation in tonight's Legal Brief.
Here's the scenario. Your car's parked at a Little League baseball field, and after the game, you discover that a baseball cracked your windshield. What should you do? As a business owner, the owner of the ballpark is generally responsible for designing an area that minimizes the risk that players, bystanders, or vehicles have of being hit by baseballs. The operator of the facility is also responsible for providing protection where the greatest danger exists and where the occurrence of an accident is reasonably foreseeable. What does that mean? Well, it's foreseeable that a player might hit a ball over the fence and strike a vehicle. Therefore, it may be negligent of the owner not to protect against such a foreseeable occurrence. But does that mean they'll fix your windshield? Probably not. If you look around, you'll probably see a sign that says, "Park at your own risk." If you park there, you assume the risk. My best legal advice is to fix your windshield, and next time, park your car a little further away from the field of play. That's your legal brief for tonight. I'm personal injury attorney Tim Porter. Back to you.
This evening, if you have a call or if you have a question about personal injuries, give us a call at 601-965-7551. Again, the number is 601-965-7551. And here to take your questions is attorney Baskin Jones. Welcome. We're glad to have you here. And also our returning favorite.
Well,
for this week. You're my favorite this week, and then next week. Well, he's my favorite next week. Next week, he's my favorite.
Deal. All right.
All right. So just give him a call if you have a question here. And on the line holding is Doris from Carthage. Welcome to Law Call, Doris, and you can ask your question. Doris?
Yes. Yes. I want to know if I can bring charges against my doctor. I fell out. His nurse gave me a shot, and I hit the floor. And I didn't wake up till I was in the hospital. And I broke my wrist when I fell. And that was 3 years ago, so I'm wondering about whether I can still have something done. I can't do anything with my wrist, my left hand. I can't run the lawnmower. And I'm 79, and it's been 3 years since I broke my wrist. But I broke it when I fell, when I passed out from that shot in my doctor's office.
Thanks for your call.
Thank you, Doris, and I am sorry to hear about your injury. And here's what my advice to Doris is that I would talk to a lawyer immediately, because from the facts that she's told us, I would be very concerned that the statute of limitations had already run, because generally in a medical malpractice case, it's 2 years unless there's some special set of circumstances. Now, assuming you can get past the statute of limitations, then you have to find, in your case, a medical doctor or a nurse practitioner or a medical official who's going to say that what that doctor did was a deviation of the standard of care. And it's going to come down to whether or not they knew that this medication caused other people to pass out or to fall out. I'm not saying you weren't injured, and I am sorry to hear about your injury, but you need to talk to a lawyer very quickly.
All right. Our next caller is John from Fayette. Welcome to Law Call, John. And what's your question this evening? John? Okay, I guess we may have lost John. All right, and let's talk about some of the things we've been talking about behind the scenes. One of the things you both were talking about, the NFL concussions.
Yeah, Baskin's firm has been taking a lot of these lately, and I'd like for you to explain to the callers, because this is a very up and coming and it's an interesting area of the law. Could you explain those cases to us?
Certainly. In the NFL, players take hard hits, and those hard hits cause concussions. What we're finding today, NFL has done a study, and they found that concussed players, if they have another concussion on top of that initial one, they're a lot more likely to have ongoing neurological problems. Football players are tough guys, and they don't like to admit they're injured all the time, but these concussions are serious business, and I'd strongly caution high schoolers, any type of sport where you have contact, if you think you might have a concussion, feeling dizzy, dilated pupils, any of those types of symptoms after a hard hit, go see a doctor. Concussions are serious business.
Okay, that's good advice, especially for those parents out there. You got a lot of kids that are out
That's
on the
right.
field.
And I think that some people might say, well, they assume the risk by going to play football, but you have to remember that sometimes these team doctors that say they're fit to play are put in a conflict situation because they have a duty to, approve the player if he's well enough to play, but at the same time, if he's not, he's got pressure from the team to put him back in the game as soon as possible. And so I think that those are interesting cases, and we'll see how they develop.
Okay, our next caller on the line, I think we got John from Fayette back.
All right.
John?
Hello?
Hey,
John.
John. You can ask your question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, John.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You can go ahead and ask your question.
Yes. I was injured 3 years ago at a relative house where I fell to the floor, and they did a summary judgment, and it's not what we wanted. I was wanting to know, what is the statute of limitation? Can I go after the builder of the house?
That's a good question. It's going to depend a lot on the facts of the case and who he sued originally, and if he knew who the builder was before, it's going to be tough to get a second bite at the apple. But you want to talk a little bit about maybe the summary judgment process and what that is?
Certainly. Summary judgment, the court is going to have the ability to take a look at the case mid-case and determine whether they should carry on and take it to trial, or whether there's reasons that they should go ahead and end the case at that moment. In this case, it sounds like even if there would be a statute of limitations problem because of the 3 years we've been talking about, that there still might be an ability to sue a different party, potentially, so you might want to contact an attorney about that claim.
Okay, all right, Baskin, I'll turn it over to you. It's time to take a quick break.
We'll be right back.
Monday, the final 8 perform live, and their fate is in your hands.
All you need is that voice.
It's a star-studded event you don't want to miss.
It's going to be a mega moment.
The Voice Live semifinals, Monday and Tuesday here on NBC.
I've sat at home and watched every season. This is my first year as a judge. Do we have enough to turn you into $1 million act? I'm going to vote yes.
At WLBT, your health matters. Now you're just a click away from medical updates to protect and improve your family's wellness. Log on WLBT.com and click on the MedNow icon. Meet local professionals with the latest in healthcare, plus answers to some of today's most sought-after medical data. From surgery to medical equipment, from physical therapy to keeping your business healthy. Log on MedNow at WLBT.com.
MedNow, sponsored by these businesses.
This is Stan.
Morning, Tom. Drop dead, Stan.
Stan's responsible for the new rate cuts at Safe Auto. Rate cuts so deep, up to 15%. His coworkers are putting in lots of overtime.
How about lunch?
And they just love showing Stan how much they appreciate it.
I'm okay.
1-800-SAFE-AUTO. State minimum coverage. Savings of up to 15%.
Hey, Elizabeth.
Pop on out to the Reservoir Friday, May 11th for the 31st annual Pepsi Pops. Gates open at 4:30 at Old Trace Park. Marshall Ramsey and WLBT's Maggie Wade will introduce the pre-concert entertainment. Then, Maestro Crafton Beck and the Mississippi Symphony Orchestra take the stage for a rousing concert of Americana, followed by a fireworks finale. Get your tickets at area Kroger's, McDade's Markets, Regions Bank branches, or msorchestra.com.
With their kids' health on the line, parents everywhere are doing it.
Like most people, I was a little hesitant.
It's a break from traditional medicine, to say the least.
I couldn't argue with what I'd seen because it was scientific.
Monday night at 10, 3 on Your Side, Stephanie Bell Flint looks at the growing popularity of kitty chiropractors.
Pediatric chiropractic care is usually not covered by insurance.
Is it bad medicine or just what the doctor ordered? Monday night on the WLBT 10 p.m. report.
If you have additional questions for our guest, attorney Baskin Jones can be reached in Jackson at the John Giddens Law Firm, and the number to call him at is 601-355-2022. Rocky Wilkins can be contacted at the Rocky Wilkins Law Firm in Jackson, and his number is 601-948-6888. Tim Porter can be reached at the Porter & Maloof Law Firm in Jackson, and the number to call, 601-957-1173. And we're taking your questions all about injuries today here on Law Call. So if you have a question, give us a call. You got a few minutes to get your question in. And on the line holding is Gary from Wesson. Welcome to Law Call, Gary, and you can ask your question now.
Yes, about 7 years ago I had a car accident where I was rear-ended and injured. And we settled with the company that hit me based on the course of treatment that the doctor said that I would have to have the surgeries, and once I had those, I was no longer able to work. The treatment did not do what the doctors had said that it would do, and now basically I'm out of money. I'm trying to make it on disability, and I'm wondering, is there any way to revisit that lawsuit?
Okay, thanks for your call, Gary.
Gary brings up a very important point, and that's when you're going to settle your lawsuit and the money's on the table and they've offered this settlement and you're getting ready to sign that release, you need to read that release, because I guarantee you, Gary, it said that they were paying you for all your damages, whether they had already occurred or would occur in the future, and that they probably made that payment in full under those circumstances or those terms. And so from what you've told me, I would think unless there's some very special circumstances like fraud, then you're probably going to not have a lot of options to reopen that lawsuit. Baskin, you may disagree, but I mean, I think once you sign that release, it's pretty much the final deal.
I do agree. The problem with these releases is that you are giving away all your rights. You're trading them for that settlement amount. And we want to make sure that anyone that has these injuries has their case looked over by an attorney and knows that this is going to be their one shot to put their life back in order after an injury like this can literally tear it apart.
Okay, less than 2 minutes in the show. Deborah from Macomb, what's your question this evening?
Yes, I was in a domestic violence. It's been a year, February, and I'm just wondering what the statute of limitation is for a civil suit, because I'm still having ongoing pain from the injury from it.
Okay. Deborah, it sounds like I'm assuming that there was some physical contact in like an assault or a battery, and in that case you're going to have 1 year to file your case. So you better go ahead and talk to a lawyer, because it sounds like you're coming up right on that statute of limitations. Now, if you have a case for what's called an intentional tort or an intentional act like that, the person that did it could open themselves up to punitive damages. And that's a very important right that you have, because it wouldn't just be for your medical bills, but it would also include things like money over and above your medical bills to punish that person, to keep them from doing that again. And domestic violence is a perfect situation where I think we want to deter that kind of conduct.
All right, thanks for your call there. And we are out of time here, and it was really good having you here. You did an
Thanks so
awesome job
much.
here, and
Thank you. Tell Mr. Giddens I said hello.
I'll tell him hello.
All right, and we're going to have to find out where he's playing Frisbee at.
That's right.
I got to check that Frisbee
You guys
stuff
are invited out anytime.
All right.
All right.
Looking forward to it, and
Thank
we'll see you back here soon,
Okay.
and we'll see all of you back here next Saturday night when we'll be taking your questions about any area of the law. Good night, everyone.